Hi, it's Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Um, for the longest time, I've been looking for, you might say, the holy grail of Rider-Waite Smith decks. And I recently got this one in the mail. It's a restoration deck called the 1909. And apparently this was, I got this because this was supposedly the closest to the original artwork that Pamela Coleman Smith made. It was the first one released, and then it was pulled from the market. And then the second version came out in 1910. I think that was more popular. But this is a restoration of the first deck, so I thought this will be the closest to her original intention. I've always been looking for what she had in mind, although it's been reported that her original deck was entirely in black and white without color. And this one has color, so I'm not sure. I don't think it's been yet determined whether she applied the color or somebody at the printing house did, or who was involved in the color process. But I'm still trying to find the deck that seems the most authentic to her original intent. So that's why I sent for this deck. And I'm going to do a little comparison for you between this deck and the Smith-Waite Centennial edition, which was celebrated on the 100th anniversary of the deck's creation. And that, I believe, was an attempt to find accuracy. So, first off, these cards, they're regular tarot size. Has a little 1909 art restoration deck title card. And here's a picture, it's close-up of the Empress on the back. And here's another card that has, I don't know why they picked the roses and lilies in red back, but this one, it doesn't say what this is all about, but somebody told me that they supposedly layered every card in the deck for some silly reason. Then you've got 3 information cards with sort of historical information on the deck. And on the flip side, you have the black and white illustrations. So presumably, these are the most authentic representation of Pixie's art. I think I actually would like to have an entirely black and white line drawn one, just for my collection. But oh, these are the backs of these cards. It's the blue roses and lilies, which is not my favorite design, but if that was on the original deck, we'll go with that. The alignment is a little strange, but one assumes if this is a restoration deck that they took every precaution to get all the details right. The cardstock, there's a little bit of a sheen to it. I'm going to show you side by side. Let's see, can I move this up a little bit? we have this, and I recently also bought a copy of the Centennial edition, regular size. I already had it in a tin, and I also got a second copy in a tin that I trimmed the borders off, because my only reservation really with this edition is the copyright on the side. And I'm still debating, since I just got the regular sized one. The copyright actually looks smaller on the regular sized one than the one in the tin. But it's very tiny. I'm trying to decide whether it bothers me enough to trim these cards and make them borderless. I know there is a borderless edition of the Smith-Waite Centennial, but it has some issues because the artwork on some of the cards is extended beyond where the borders are, and it bothers me. There's in the Magician and the Queen of Pentacles, there is a hanging bower that is just straight cut across the top, which, floating in space, well, I don't have it here to show you, but you can see if you just cut this off and put yellow sky above it, it wouldn't make any sense, but that's exactly what they did. So anyway, set that aside. So, let's look at these in terms of the deck and the color. First off, I note the cardstock is much thinner on the 1909. Now, there are a few extra cards in each deck, but I think, let me just take those out. Oh no, I already did in this one, okay. In the Centennial, there's a couple extra art cards. Okay, we'll set those aside. You can explore those in other walkthroughs. It's still quite a difference in the thickness of the cardstock. It's funny though, it doesn't feel that different. The Centennial's a little bit stiffer. But look at the difference. This looks to be about, oh my goodness, 10 to 15 cards thicker. Now let's look at the colors. I think the Centennial has richer colors. The 1909 seems a little bit almost washed out, but some might prefer the paler coloring. Sorry, I'm working on a tray on my lap, so making room and keeping everything in the lens is a little bit tricky. Okay. So I think you can see the difference. Oh, I should show you the backs. This is the Centennial. This is the 1909. Neither one are my favorite backs. I prefer the crackle backs. which also, oh, there's another version here, which I didn't put in order. That's the study deck, and that one comes with a crackle bat, which is beautiful, and no copyright. But if I can find the card, you'll see that this deck is slightly darker coloring, and here we go. The skin tones are very kind of sunburnt in this version. And the line work is a little thicker, a little blotchier. So I wouldn't say, I know this is very popular. I like the deck. I just don't think it's as crisp as some of the others in terms of the line detail. And the coloring is a little dark for me. So, sorry, set that aside. Get back to these. My lighting here isn't good. I've said that before. I don't know how best to show you. The difference. The yellows in the 1909 are a little bit odd. In this sort of lower lighting, it's not as noticeable, but some of the yellows are very acidic. Here you can see the line work and everything seems a little bit washed out. So, even though this may be more accurate, and I don't know for what reason they withdrew it from the market initially, I think I prefer the Centennial edition in terms of the coloring, the line work. And I know it's a lot of people's favorites. Oh, this is dramatic. Look at the color difference in the background. Now, they both have this kind of aged, almost speckly look. And I actually like the way the Centennial has a sort of an aged look to it, an antique quality. If only they left the copyrights off, but U.S. Games, that's the way they play. Oh, here it's a little dramatically different too. You lose all the subtlety from the clouds over here, or shading I should say. It's dark here, but I think I like the shadow on the clouds better than I do here. That subtlety's gone. The line work seems a little more defined in this one, around the points of the sunlight or moonlight, and the outlines of the dogs. Yeah, I don't know if this is communicating. This seems rather washed out to me. Oh, I was gonna show you. Yeah, I should have. Can I find the original card? I don't know if you can see there. No, it's pretty subtle, but there's a difference in the finish on the cards between the tin version and the regular size version. The tin one is ever so slightly glossier. The finish on it is just has a little bit more of a sheen than the regular size cards. I didn't buy this for the longest time, the regular size one. I thought, well, why do I need it? I love them in a tin. Is it going to be any different? Well, there is a slight difference, and I'm glad I got it. What did I do? I thought I'd ordered these, but I must have... Did I do them backwards? Oh, that's unfortunate. We'll have to go this way then. I juggled about 4 different versions of the deck and resequenced all of them. But I guess I didn't pay enough attention to the way the Centennial was arranged. If I could, I'd pause this and rearrange it for you, but there's no pause recording button, and so I'd have to edit, and I don't edit yet. It's actually enough of a hassle for me to, now that I have my new iPhone, to transfer it from the iPhone to YouTube. It was easier before doing these just on my laptop. They uploaded very quickly. This one, as it is, takes hours. Don't know why that is. Oh, you can hardly see the pattern in the blouse on this one. But you can see a little more detail down here than you can in the tents over here. I wonder what you think. Do you like the 1909 restoration, or do you prefer the Centennial edition? I can't remember who I ordered the 1909 from. You can Google 1909 restoration. If I can find it, I'll include it in the notes or comments. It's funny, when I got this deck, every time I look at these decks, I see more details than I'd missed before. Like, there's a little bit of white showing up here, and I thought, oh, that's misprinted. Well, it's on here too, but it's perhaps a little less noticeable. Oh dear. Apologies for this. I reordered the suits. I just didn't check that the suits were in proper sequence. The sky is interesting here. It's a little mottled, it has a little more atmosphere to it. And some might not like the contrast or the more saturated look. I actually think I do. I think I prefer it to having it more washed out. Although, you know, it's funny. It changes from card to card. This one, the wands almost seem to have a three-dimensional shadow effect on them. And there is a lot going on in this card anyway, so some of the details less easy to make out here than here, perhaps. This Centennial version also comes in a deluxe package that you can get in a box with books and extra postcards and things. I didn't get that one yet. I don't know if I need it. I mean, I'm curious about it to read the books, but I don't know if the cards are any different. One thing I did notice about this deck that was curious is that the copyright on the Fool is, I have to switch glasses now because it's so tiny. The copyright is 2013 on the Fool, but on all the other cards is 2009. I don't know why that is. US Games would have to tell me. I don't know if I have a fluke deck or if they're all like that. I'm sorry, it's 25 minutes in. I should probably fly through these a little faster. I'm sure you've seen dozens of walkthroughs and comparisons and decks, and you know all these cards by heart, but there's a little misprint here, a little white dot. And up here too. There's a little something in the back. That's on both cards, I see it. I was also going to show you the AGM tarot of A.E. Waite as a comparison, but it has a different font at the bottom, so I don't know. It just got to be a bit too much and a bit too distracting, but if I can find a single card that I show you. Maybe this one I got with a crackle back, which I love. Let me see if I can find the King of Wands. Am I disorganized or what? I actually love the feel of these cards. Yeah, actually, of the 3 decks, the AGM deck feels the best. Okay. And I'm also rather partial to the coloring and the line definition, even though the font is different. But it is very white. It's not sort of aged or discolored. The jury's still out on this. I guess the font is the big deal breaker, if that's something that bothers you. This deck almost comes across like it's in a little bit of a fog. And a lot of people complain about the yellows in the Rider-Waite deck. I don't have a problem with the bright, saturated yellows. Actually, this one's bright too, but it's this weird, very acidic lemon, washed out kind of yellow that I almost find more disturbing than the darker yellow. Oh, there's a lot of difference in the detailing here. Anyway, apologies and thanks for bearing with me. We're almost done here. I think in the long run, even with the copyright, I prefer the Centennial to the 1909 restoration. Again, sorry for making a muddle of this, but I think the important thing is that you could see the difference between these two decks, and it might help you to decide which one you might be interested in, the 1909 or the Smith-Waite Centennial Edition. Thanks, and I'll see you all again next time.